Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Enter, welcome back to the channel, and today we have another Smite 2 deep dive to go over. This time it's going to be on the VFX of the game. Of course, the graphical upgrade going into UE5 has been amazing. We've seen a graphical deep dive already, but this is going to go more sort of into the details of all the VFX of the game. And of course, we are in springtime now, which is when they said the alpha was going to be. Obviously, that's a pretty wide range of dates. It could go anywhere up to May, but hopefully we get to see some alpha soon so that we can actually start bringing you guys some proper content on the game that we're allowed to. And of course, you guys can test the game, provide your own feedback to high res and just experience everything that Smite 2 has to offer. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump in with this VFX deep dive.
I'm Shane. I'm a VFX artist on Smite 2, and I'm trying to really push the bar on what we can take Smite 2's VFX to. One of the problems in a lot of video games is that whenever you're in a team fight and there's so much happening, how do you tell what's going on? So in Smite 2, one of the things we wanted to do was have a consistent friendly enemy guideline for what we wanted the allies and enemies of your character to look at. So you've got your cool looking targeters in your gods color palette with their Pantheon theme, but if you want...
Oh, that looks good, dude. The graphics are getting really good now, like... Even in the earlier deep dives and like some of the stuff that I play tested, like the graphics are really starting to look good. I'm not sure if these stones were in when I tried. They probably were, but like everything's starting to look a lot better in these deep dives and like promotional videos that they've been putting out now. Like obviously these will be screened to like they'll be on a non-experimental build, like a finalized build that they'll make sure everything looks absolutely great for these deep dives. It'll have all the polish that it needs. But like, even if we take this as the absolute best the game can look, which isn't true, you know, obviously they're still going under development. By the time the game releases, it'll look better than this, even in just normal gameplay. But yeah, of course, these are screened. They want it to look as good as it can, but just like, look at that, dude. Like, the backdrop looks really good. The mountains, the forest in the background, like the trees look really good. The terrain, the underfooting, like pathways and rocks and stuff. And of course, this is Hecate that we can see here. We know she's going to be coming as the first truly new god to Smite 2. Yeah, it looks really incredible, and also what they were talking about before, like, it is very important that you have clear VFX in terms of like ally and enemy, and it doesn't get too over cluttered, because obviously you do want fancy effects going on and stuff like that to make the game look really nice, but there's a fine line you gotta walk with like making it look really good, and in a competitive game like Smite, you also want to make it clear and readable, and it's not like, you know, things are just going off all around you, you can't see anything that's happening. So yeah, very, very fine line you gotta walk there. Let's continue.
To be able to see your targeter better, we're giving you the option. You can make your targeter whatever color you want or can see.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool. I like that. More customizability and putting control in the hands of the players is always something I'm down for. It's something we saw with the new HUD for Smite 1, and I assume Smite 2's HUD will be fully customizable as well. Like, it's just really cool when the players get the ability to kind of customize their game to how they personally feel with it, and this is a really cool addition as well.
Try and help people that are colorblind. You're able to adjust these colors.
Oh, colorblind stuff as well. Yeah, I forgot about that. I play Smite on colorblind mode. I just prefer the way the colors look, and that's what I mean about this, like, customization. Like, I prefer the colorblind mode color scheme, personally. Obviously, it looks different to me than it would look to someone who is actually colorblind. But yeah, I just prefer the way it looks, and so giving players the ability to customize that stuff, like, I won't have to put on colorblind mode. I could probably just, like, switch my targeters to literally whatever color scheme I want, and that's really cool.
We want you to be able to tell at a glance what's going on with 100%.
Oh, man. Dude, it's looking so good now. Like, I feel like when we first saw this Certain Assault, it did not look that good. Like, I'm gonna slow-mo this shit, dude. We're going deep right now. We're going deep on the deep dive. Let's do like a 0.5 slow-mo.
At a glance, what's going on?
Look at that, dude. Like, the little, I don't know if that's a specifically Cernunnos symbol or if that's the Celtic Pantheon symbol. I think it might be the Celtic Pantheon symbol. But just look how good this looks.
What's going on with 100%?
Looks really good, dude. Let's unslow-mo for now. I may end up slow-moing again.
Going on with 100% certainty. One of the new features.
Yeah, like the Chak Rain. We've seen this a lot already, to be fair. This is not new, but the fact that it like leaves proper like puddles on the ground rather than like, I don't even know what happens with it in Smite 1 off the top of my head, but it definitely doesn't look this good, 100%. Also, again, the out of map like environment art is something that really pops out to me in Smite 2, because there's not a lot of it in Smite 1. Like, sure, we have like the dual lane beach and like the lava pits on the side of the fire giant, but it looks nowhere near as good and immersive as it does in Smite 2. Like these buildings out here, like the foliage and stuff, like the out of map stuff is really impressive to me.
Features we get with the transition to Unreal 5 is GPU particles. Most particles are rendered on your CPU, which means anything that we want to spawn a lot of is going to be really expensive. But with these GPU particles, we go from being able to have hundreds of particles to tens of thousands of these little sprites, which adds a high...
Is that like Fire Giant dying or transforming into like EFG or something?
To tens
That looks like, yeah, it's definitely
of
Fire
thousands
Giant, right?
of these.
But yeah, like being able to render on GPU particles, like even if you wanted to, this is me going into game design when I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But if you wanted to, you could do some that are rendered on the GPU and then some that are created by the CPU, and then you could kind of balance that load to where, like, you know, most people have a relatively balanced system where they have a fairly strong CPU and a fairly strong GPU, or like a mid-range GPU and mid-range CPU. But most gamers do spend more on their graphics cards than they do on their CPU processors, because that's mostly what gets used in games. And so being able to render these particles on the GPU will free up a lot of space for the CPU to do other things like shadows and stuff like that that will just make the game run better.
Little sprites, which adds a high graphical fidelity, makes everything feel nice and cool and unique. Hecate's fire now illuminates the area around her from...
Wait, what's this? That's not the Conquest map, is it? Also, yeah, the illumination and stuff like this is something we've seen before, and I think the graphical deep dive as well, where like everything can cast light onto other things and create shadows dynamically, and it just makes the game look so much more immersive.
Now illuminates the...
But yeah, what is this? Is this Joust or something? This is definitely not the Conquest map. You don't just have like rocks like this and then straight like faces. Like, dude, is this a new map that we're seeing here? This honestly to me looks like the PvE adventure maps from before. Like most normal maps don't have stuff that looks like this. Also, the terrain is very low res, which is kind of what we saw in those adventures as well, because like they're having to render a generally bigger map, and so it was a bit low res.
Illuminates the area around her from her torch. Chalk's axe and his lightning, that's now providing light.
Oh,
So
that was
and
nice.
his lightning, that's now providing...
That right there.
Provide
Like as Chuck throws it, it has like this
it's now
lightning like circle around it. That looks really sick.
providing light. So in Unreal 5, we've been given this new tool set. One of these is Chaos Destruction, where we can take a mesh, we can put it in the engine, and we can break
For
it
like
apart.
when towers are destroyed.
We can have that real-time destruction with these different logic, and you can do whatever you want to it, and you could just have Ymir's wall crumble into ice without too much extra work. In Smite 1...
Yeah, again, that's like a lot of what they've talked about before, where there's like a lot of built-in systems in UE5 that they can just sort of use a template for, you know, with like cloth animations and these breakable structures and stuff like that. It just makes the development flow a whole lot easier.
How we did weapon trails on most melee characters is we would take the melee character's animation and we would create a mesh that followed behind their sword as they swung it around. So when your attack speed was raised or like anything animation changed, we would only have that one mesh to use. In Smite 2, we've taken these new ribbons and we've added a socket to the tip of the sword and to the base.
Yeah, like what is this? Is not Conquest, dude. I've played on the Conquest map and I've seen various gameplay snippets and images of the Conquest map from these deep dives. This is not Conquest. This is possibly just a test environment they built. Like, I imagine with how easy it is to do a lot of this stuff in UE5, they could probably fairly quickly put together a test environment that looks this good. Like, I don't doubt that. So it's definitely possible this is just some kind of test environment for them to test stuff in, and that I'm going way too deep on this.
The sword. And we're tracing this ribbon.
Yeah,
from,
this is Conquest.
Point A to point B, and when the sword's swinging around, now it can swing in any shape, and the ribbon's going to follow it just as if we animated it in real time. As effects artists, one of the things that's really important
Dude, look at the backdrops. Looks so
to us
nice.
is the player is empowered. We want you to feel like you're playing that god. We want you to feel like you are Chalk in this instance. So making your lightning really cool, giving you awesome sounds, flashes when appropriate is something that we're trying to do to
Zeus all looking real good, dude. Goddamn.
really increase the player's sense of godly impact and power. As VFX artists and the rest of Titan Forge, we're cooking. We're working on something.
It's a juicy.
We're so excited for everybody to be able to get their hands on Smite and finally play it. We're just getting started, and I can't wait to see you guys in the battleground.
Yeah, they are cooking, dude. They are cooking. This is looking real nice. Like, every time I see this game in, like, a deep dive or when I'm in a playtest or something, it just looks and feels better, like, every single time. You can really tell the progress on it. And, like, keep in mind, this is something they've only been working on since, like, the start of year 10 in Smite 1, so basically, like, a year and a bit now that they've been working on this. They probably have, you know, at least till the end of the year before they would want a full release, I would imagine. Alpha's going to be in spring, and then they'll have betas throughout the year and stuff. Like, it might even be early 2025 when they release. So the game's just going to improve so much in that time based on, like, just on the fact that, like, what we've seen from the announcement to now, which is only a few months, they've improved things so much. Like, the game's looking so good. So yeah, super excited for the alpha to come out, and I can finally bring you guys some like proper content playing the game and talking about all the intricacies of it, the mechanics, you know, guides and stuff like that. It's going to be really cool. So very excited for you guys to get access to the alpha as well. And I will catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.